pages. I'm Mary Beth, and sadly you see the seat next to me is empty today. Tiffany is recouping from her first grad school residency. Her mind is full of creativity and ideas and information, and she needed a little time to process that, so she will be returning with us next week. So I thought I would take the time to review a book that she hasn't read yet. So today we're going to review Everland. This came in our steampunk Owl Crate box. I think that was May or June. I suppose it doesn't matter. But it's a Peter Pan retelling, and I'm very into the retellings right now. I think there's some really great ones out there. I love the Lunar Chronicles, which mixes a lot of different fairy tales. You have Rapunzel and Cinderella and Little Red Riding Hood. Fantastic series if you hadn't read it, but we will talk about that one another day. So this is Everland. It's by Wendy Spinale, and in the Owl Crate box we got some fun Everland metallic temporary tattoos. So I made some cool book swag and put them onto candles, which I thought was pretty neat. It has nothing to do with the review, but you know, I like my swag. They came out cool. So let's get into the story. Firstly, I'm gonna say I thought it was an easy read. I don't know whether it's technically considered middle grade or young adult, because to me it reads a little more like middle grade. It takes place in a dystopian London. There has been a viral outbreak, which is very much like the Lunar Chronicles, if you've read that. And the virus has killed all the adults, and there's only children left, and the majority of them are boys. They thought the boys were immune. They find out later that that's not necessarily the case. So you have Gwen Darling is our heroine, and the book is told in it's told from Gwen's point of view, and then it's told from Hook's point of view. There was a word there I was trying to find, and it's not there this morning. So that's one thing I liked about the book. What I would have loved more is if it was solely told from Hook's point of view. He needs some growth as a character. He's very much, woe is me, my mother hates me, she's awful, but I'm gonna do things for her anyway. It's just kind of a thing that he keeps harping on, and that he wants to go home, and I get it, you know. But I thought that if that concept had been developed more, it would have made for a more interesting book. Retellings are fun, because I really give authors a lot of credit when they can take a familiar story and twist it enough so that you're not necessarily expecting what happens, but there's enough of the original in there to keep you saying, oh yeah, I remember that from the original, or I can see why the author chose to do that. And there's a lot of that in this book. You'll see that there are phrases from Peter Pan that are kind of worked in. Honestly, I don't think that they're all worked in well, but they're still in there, and that's fun to see. I'm gonna say it was enjoyable, but I didn't love it. I didn't feel the connection between Gwen and Peter. I found Peter to be really flippant in his reactions. At one point, he is all for going out and saving Bella, who plays Tink. Excuse me. And then, you know, moments after, he's telling her, if you don't stop glaring at Gwen, then we're gonna kick you out. And if he's so hell-bent on saving her, why would he make a comment like that? See, it seems kind of, you know, contradictory. And I personally didn't like the ending. I'm not going to get into it, because if you do read it, I don't want to spoil it for you. But I think that it's a good dystopian light. Maybe if you have readers who you're a little concerned that, you know, something like Hunger Games is a little too harsh for them to read, this might be a good start. There is some violence and obviously things have happened, but I think it's an easy read, and I don't think there's as much of the emotional connection as you get with something like Hunger Games. So it would be a little easier for a younger reader to get into it and not necessarily, excuse me, get, upset by what happens inside. It's an easy read. I think that if you're going to read it, it would make for a good beach read, because you can put it down to go jump in the ocean and then come back and not have to, easily jump right back into it. Don't go in expecting great things, expect average things. It did leave itself open for a sequel, so whether that's going to happen, I guess we'll see. Depends on, book sales and all sorts of things like that. Would I read the sequel? Maybe. I might be interested to see where it goes, and sometimes sequels are better than the originals, writing-wise at least. I'll admit I read the Twilight series. You can probably... They're back here somewhere. Somewhere on the shelf, and they were interesting enough. But I do think that her writing improved as each book went on. So it's possible for that to happen with other series too. And if you enjoy retellings, then you might be willing to take the chance and keep going. So I don't feel like I wasted time reading it, but definitely not at the top of my books I love to read over the summer list. I'm going to give it 2.5 stars, or that's not our system. 2.5 pages out of 5. And if you read it, if you got a copy in your owl crate, or you picked up a copy yourself and you have an opinion on it, we would love to hear what you think. You can put your comments and questions below, and we'll discuss. And until next time, literati, keep turning those pages. Bye-bye.